Walsall are current leaders over in League 2 as they top the table with a perfect bloody record. Joining them will be the Gills, that's right, sitting in second spot. But will they still be there after this coming week? We're going to get into it, all of it, next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we're taking a look at matchday number 3, that's right, in this season's League 2 campaign. Currently, it's the best got boys sitting at the top of the table over in League 2, joined by Gillingham, of course, who are expected to be there or thereabouts, and new boys, Bromley, that's right. All three sides with the perfect record, but will they still all have a perfect record at the end of this weekend? We're going to get into all of that and more in a second. If you do, where you been? Smash your subscribe button, boys. Your one-stop shop for League 2 is right here under one rooski. We've got League 1, League 2, Championship, everything under one rooski. And of course, it also is the home of Blackburn Bloody Rovers. A big shout out once again to the VIPs. They are the patrons. Now, before we jump into the video, something brand new to the channel. And what is it? It's the join button. That's right. We've gone there. Memberships. That's right. We've opened up the floodgates to members, so you can now join and support the channel in another way. We have our first member, so a big shout out to him. But you can also join that member and becoming an extra special member of the community. Just click on the join button, follow the on-screen instructions, and become part of the gang. All right then, folks, let's take a little look back at how we all got on last time around then, shall we, of course, by revisiting some of the results and, of course, the score lines. Take a little look at it. Not too shabby from myself. Bromley, as I said, top the table, are in that group with a perfect record so far. They picked up a 2-0 win over Wimbledon. I went with a 2-1 win myself. Carlisle did beat Barrow 1-0. I went with a draw. Stanley could only get a 3-3 draw against Harrogate Town. I went with a 2-0 win as well. Walsall, big winners for them on the road against Swindon. They put 4 past them. Newport County put 3 past Doncaster Rovers, who are tipped to do very well this season as well. Meanwhile, Crewe got battered by Dylan Markanday and Chesterfield, 5-0 winners for them. Grimsby, 3-2 winners over Cheltenham. I went with a draw. We had Colchester beating MK Dons, which cost a man his job. Mike Williamson is out on his ear as the start to the campaign has not gone in favour of MK Dons. Meanwhile, the Gills did put 1 past Morecambe to be in that top 2. Port Vale could only draw against Tranmere. Same can be said for Bradford City and Salford 0-0 in the end, and Notts County with a 2-2 draw against Fleetwood. So how did I do amongst you guys? Well, let's take a little look at it. Here is, of course, the prediction league for this past week, and as you can see, not great. I got 3 results out of 12, which is, of course, pretty piss poor, but it is a marathon, not a sprint, peeps. So let's calm your jets. But Alfie and Chris T got a pretty good, an impressive 6 out of 12 for their pickaroos this past time around. But what has that done to the overall table? Again, it is early doors. I think once the season gets going, we're only going to be doing updates to the prediction league every month. But this is the current state of play as you see it. And again, it's not perfect. Look, for example, Gary Davis is down there with 2 sets of 4. So realistically, he should be on 8. We'll clear that up in a little bit. But it is Paul Ricker with 13 points at the moment. F. Mogger up there alongside him with 11. And K. Skiffgaff alongside Jimmy Watton, Preston Hinterland, Russell Frost, all with 10 in early doors. I'm just outside there, though, with 9. And again, I'm bubbling. I'm just bubbling at the right time. And I'll strike. I'll make a move for it. And again, if you do see your name in here, that's in there doubled. For example, Chris T. Is that the same as the other Chris? I need you guys to let me know. Reach out to me, of course. But anyway, that's enough about that. This is the current state of play in the league. As you see, Walsall are tip at the top of the table with Gillingham alongside them. Bromley make it into the automatics. Going down, it's Crewe. It's MK Dons right now. Morecambe have not started well under Derek Adams. But it is only 2 games old. Let's calm ourselves down here, boys. It's not over just yet. But if you do want to get involved with the prediction league, it is still wide open. Plenty time, 44 games left and the playoffs, so plenty more time for you guys to get involved with the predictions as we get into it. But these are the next games, and we're going to start with a trip to Notts County. That's right. How am I going to do this then? We're going to try and do this on the fly. Let's get over to Notts County as they take on a tricky Grimsby side. I'm all over the place right now. It's a tricky little navigation process, but these two sides will actually lock horns on Thursday, the 22nd of August. That's right, over at Notts County's ground. Meanwhile, these two sides have played each other a few times over the past few seasons, 31 times in fact since 1993. 14 wins for Grimsby, 9 wins for Notts County, and there's been 8 draws between the two sides. The last time they played, get this, was a 10-goal thriller, 5-5 over at Grimsby, but the last time they played over at Notts County, it was a 3-2 win between the two sides, heading in favour of Notts County back in August 2023. So there's goals between these two sides, 15 goals scored between them two over the last couple of matches. The bookies are siding with Notts County on this one for the victory. They are favoured here. I've got the odds of around about, what are we looking at here? 2017 on for Notts County, 27-10 is your away win. Grimsby, of course, is the away side there. 12-5 is the draw on this one. For me, I am actually going to go with, I think I'm going with a home victory here. Yes, just a narrow 1-0 win for them for this weekend's action. Let's go over to, oh gosh, it's so hard to do this on the fly, but we're going to give it a shot. We're going to head over to Crewe now. That's right, as Crewe entertain Swindon Town. That's right, Crewe looking to bounce back after that bit of a drubbing up against Chesterfield this past weekend. Can they bounce back this time around over at Grimsby Road? They have played 35 times since 1997. Got 15 wins for Crewe, got 14 wins for Swindon, and there's been 6 draws between the two sides. Crewe are looking a little bit woeful at the moment. 4 defeats on the spin. That's including a game out in pre-season, excluding the Cup. Swindon yet to get a win as well under Mark Kennedy this campaign. Now, these two sides did lock horns last season over at Grimsby Road. It was a 2-1 win for Crewe, who are unbeaten against Swindon over the last 4, picking up a couple of wins, 3 wins and a draw to boot. Bookies are backing Crewe for the victory, but only just. It's quite narrow between these two sides, but both sides looking for responses. Crewe got battered 5-0 by Chesterfield at home. Swindon got battered at home by Walsall 4-0 as well on this one. It's a tight one. It could go either way, but I'm going to back the draw here, sitting on the fence somewhat, and we'll see if I am right or if I am wrong. Over to Tranmere Rovers now as they entertain Walsall. Of course, Walsall looking to continue their fantastic start under Matt Sadler. Tranmere, of course, under the stewardship of Nigel Atkins. Now, these two sides are familiar opponents, playing each other 32 times since 1999. 13 wins for Walsall. There's been 11 wins for Tranmere. There's been 8 draws between the two sides. Tranmere are unbeaten against Walsall. Actually, they're actually unbeaten in the last 6 matches. They're not unbeaten against Walsall. In fact, they haven't beaten Walsall in the last 3 matches, but Tranmere's record over the last 6 games is pretty good, 75% form for them at the moment. They are drawing and winning at the same time. Meanwhile, Walsall, 3 wins on the bounce in all competitions and at all venues. They do look like a tricky opponent to play against at this moment in time. In fact, Tranmere haven't beaten Walsall since September 2022 at the Bescot. In fact, you've got to go a long way since Tranmere beat Walsall at Prenton Park the last time around. It was back in August 2021. The bookies, they do go in favour of Tranmere for the victory on this one. Only slightly favoured, according to them. They're 11-8 for the victory, 17-10, is your Walsall. Tricky one for me to call on this one, but I am backing Tranmere to get a good win against the Walsall side, who have started well in the first instance, and see if they can maintain their top of the table status. We are now going to go to Barrow, that's right, and they of course play at Holker Street. They're taking on a Port Vale side who've had a bit of a wobbly start to the campaign. Not the best possible start for them this season. These two sides are unfamiliar foes over the last couple of seasons, but they have played 5 times since 2020. 2 wins to Barrow, 3 for Port Vale. There's been 0 draws between the two sides. Barrow on 58% form for them over the last 6. 25% form for Port Vale at the moment, just 1 win in the last 6 games. That was on the opening day. They did lose in the Cup. They did bounce back though with a draw this past weekend, but Barrow did beat these boys last time around, and it was actually in the Cup. So they are familiar foes, having played just about maybe 10 days ago, not even 10 days ago, maybe 5 days ago. They played in the Cup. Barrow came out on top with a 3-2 win, but they do lock horns once again over at Holker Street, where it has been not the best of stomping grounds for Barrow in this fixture. Of the last 3, Port Vale have picked up 2 wins, but the most recent result at Holker Street was in favour of Barrow. Now, the bookies, they will side with 7-5 is your Barrow slight favours here, but Port Vale are 8-5. 12-5 is the draw here. Quite tight on this one, and again, I don't know which way to go, to be fair, so I'm going to back the away side. Port Vale, they've got the players, they've got the coach. Can they get it right this time around? Of course, let's head on over to Bradford City. That's right. Where are they playing? They're playing at Valley Parade. Let's head on over to there as we look forward to this game up against Bromley, who have been fantastic so far this season. Bradford City, though, under the stewardship of Graham Alexandra, who's been there, seen it and done it in this league, up against Bromley and Andy Woodman, who, again, top tables with a perfect record so far. 3 wins from 3. But these two sides are unfamiliar foes, haven't played each other at all, according to my knowledge. But Bradford on 50% form for them over the last 6. 1, 2, lost 2 and drawn 2 heading into this one. Bromley, 67% form for them right now. Back-to-back wins in the league. They did suffer a blip in the cup, which was away to, actually at home to Wimbledon. This is their first away match since the opening day against Harrogate. They did pick up a win against them. That's a tricky place to go, is Bradford on its day. And of course, that is reflected by the bookies. Overwhelming favoured. Despite being top of the league, Bradford go into this hot to bloody trot. What we're looking at here, they're looking at 13-8 on is your Bradford, 4-1 is your away win, which is Bromley, which is bonkers. They're top of the league, guys. Again, it is early, but they got momentum. They got their win beneath their wings. But I have, of course, I'm going to read into that a little bit. I'm going to go with a draw somewhat. Just can't really judge Bradford right now. Not the best possible start. Bromley on the crest of a wave. So I'm going to sit on the fence somewhat. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Meanwhile, let's head on over to where we're going now. Let's get your backpacks ready. We're heading over to Cheltenham. Cheltenham Town are taking on Wimbledon. That's right, coming at you over at this completely Suzuki Stadium. That's right. Cheltenham, of course, under the stewardship of Michael Flynn right now, up against Johnny Jackson's Wimbledon. That's right. Now, these two sides have played 12 times in 2011, 4 wins apiece, and there's been 4 draws between the two sides. Cheltenham, not great form right now. 2 defeats on the spin when you include the cup. Meanwhile, Wimbledon coming into this on 50% form for them right now, winning 3 and losing 3 over the last 6. That, of course, stretches back into pre-season. Now, these two sides last lock horns at the completely Suzuki Stadium back in March 2022. Cheltenham coming out on top with a 3-1 win. In fact, the away side has not won this game since Cheltenham beat Wimbledon at Plough Lane back in League 2 in 2012. In fact, there's only been 1 win on record, stretching all the way back to 2011. For the away side. So the away side might be unfancied on this one. The bookies are going with, what are we going with here? We're going with a Cheltenham victory, of course. They are heavily favoured here. Even Stevens, 12-5 is your Wimbledon. 12-5 is, of course, the draw as well. Tight one to call on this one. Cheltenham need a result. They are one of the favourites to go up. Wimbledon just causing problems left, right and centre. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Cheltenham on this one, to, of course, get their season back on track. Let's head over to Colchester then, shall we, as they take on Harrogate Town. That's right, coming at you over at the JobServe Community Stadium. Hopefully I got that right. Colchester, where are you? Taking on Harrogate Town, which will be their 9th time since 2020 that they have played. There's been 5 wins for Colchester, 3 for Harrogate, and there's been no draws between the two sides as such up to this point. Colchester, though, their biggest win over Harrogate was a 3-1 win compared to the 3-0 win Harrogate picked up against them over the last 8 matches. Colchester on back-to-back wins under the Cowleys. They might have turned a corner following on that Carabao Cup success. They've made it 2 wins on the bounce. Meanwhile, Harrogate Town started okay with a win and a draw over the last couple of matches, but an opening day defeat sees them just sitting with 1 point in the league at the moment. Now, Harrogate have actually just got back-to-back wins against Colchester from last season. That's picking up a home and an away win. But the bookies do side with Colchester on this one. They are favoured 21-20 for the victory. 9-4 is your Harrogate Town. 12-5 is the draw. I think I'm also going with the Colchester victory. No, I'm going with a 1-1 draw. Is that bloody right? Hang on a minute. Head on over to the Keep Moat then, shall we, as we take a little look at Doncaster Rovers. That's right, they're taking on Morecambe, coming at you. Doncaster, not the greatest response this past week, losing with Grant McCann's boys suffering their first defeat of the season. Taking on a Morecambe side who have yet to get going under Derek Adams That's right. But they played 7 times since 2003. 3 wins for the hosts, 2 wins for Morecambe, and 2 draws between the two sides. Doncaster looking to bounce back from that defeat, but their most recent match against Morecambe was a convincing 3-0 win back at the back end of this last season. That's when Doncaster were red hot to bloody trot. But it wasn't long ago that Morecambe stuck 5 past Doncaster back in December 2023. So these guys have exchanged victories over the last 4 encounters, 2 wins apiece. But Morecambe, on the back of a 1-0 loss to Gillingham, have yet to score this season. That's, of course, 3 games now without a goal, which, of course, is concerning. Doncaster, they'll pick up a 4-1 win on the opening day and another 2 goals against Salford in the Cup to give them a taste for goal. Their loss against Newport County, though, this past week will have hit them hard. The bookies, though, go in favour of Doncaster. 2-1 on for the victory, 3-1 is the draw, 5-1 is your long shots. That is, of course, Morecambe on this one. I think I'm going to go with a Doncaster. There we go. 2-0 win. Doncaster take it to the house and we'll move the trains, of course. Let's head on over. Where are we going now? We're going to go back up north to Chesterfield. Of course, they are. What's going on here? All right, then, heading over to Chesterfield, of course, who are spurred on from that big victory this past weekend. They're taking on Salford City. That's right, coming at you over at the SMH Group Stadium, of course. Chesterfield looking good at the moment under Paul Cook. Salford under Carl Robertson not really got going. Actually pretty grim for them at the moment. These two sides locking horns for what will be the 4th time since 2018. There's been 2 wins for the hosts, just 1 win for Salford. There's been no draws between the two sides. Chesterfield, though, looking pretty A-OK right now, following on from a draw against Swindon on opening day, 5 goals against Crewe, and a narrow close escape, or a narrow defeat against Derby over in the League Cup. Meanwhile, Salford, not the great start for them in this campaign. Also, goalless so far, losing to Port Vale, losing to Doncaster in the Cup, and could only force a 0-0 draw against Bradford this past weekend. Now, these two sides last played at Chesterfield. It was a 2-0 win for the hosts back in December 2018. That was when both of these two sides were in non-league action. The odds, though, is 11-8 on your Chesterfield. They are hotly tipped. 13-5 is the draw. 16-5 is your away win here. I am also backing Chesterfield, backing them big here to go for broke and, of course, get another win under their belts. Let's go over to Fleetwood Town. That's right. Let's head over to the coast, to Highbury, as Fleetwood Town look to continue their decent start this season with Charlie Adam at the helm. Now, these two sides, Fleetwood and Gillingham, again, played each other 17 times since 2012. 8 wins for Fleetwood, 4 for Gillingham. 5 draws between the two sides. The Fleet, or the Cod Army, should we say, 67% form for them at the moment. Just 1 defeat in the last 6. Gillingham, of course, second in the table on goal difference, 2 for 2. 58% form for them right now, but 2 wins on the bounce. They did lose in the Cup, which might be a bit of a damp squib, but Mark Bonner's boys looking A-OK right now. Charlie Adam as well with an unbeaten season, couple of wins, including victory in the Cup and a draw this past time out. They've also got a good record against Gillingham over the last 6. 3 wins, 3 defeats, looking A-OK. In fact, the last time that Gills picked up a win was back in November 2018, so you've got to turn the clock back on that one. The bookies, they do fancy Fleetwood is 6-4 for the victory. 8-5 is your Gills. 12-5 is the draw right here, right now. It's a tight one. I am going to sit on the fence on this one. Dax boys now. Hopefully we can get him closer to match fitness, but I am going to go with a 1-1 draw for this one. Now we go for managerless MK Dons. That's right. They're, of course, looking for a new gaffer. They're going to be taking on Carlisle, that's right, at the Stadium MK. MK Dons need a response. They are backed by a lot of people to be the team to stop this season, but right now they've got a lot of work to do to get back in the driving seat. They're taking on Carlisle, managed by Paul Simpson, and they have played 14 times since 2008. We got MK Dons with 6 wins, 7 wins for the visitors. That's Carlisle, and just 1 draw between the two sides. But 4 defeats on the spin, stretching all the way back into pre-season, is not great form for the MK Dons here. Meanwhile, Carlisle, they did get a win last time around to put themselves up in contention in the table at the moment. Again, sitting okay, 15th for the table, but it is early days. Now, these two sides last played at the Stadium MK back in December 2018 in League 2. MK Dons coming out on top with a 2-0 win. In fact, they've got back-to-back wins over them in that season, which of course was in League 2. The bookies, they do fancy MK Dons, despite whoever is going to be manager for them this time around. They got 5-4 on for the victory. 13-5 is the draw. 3-1 is your away win. Again, I am backing MK Dons here for the victory. I don't know what was wrong with Mike Williamson. Maybe just a poor start, poor summer, and it's kind of steamrolled into the actual season is, so they'll hopefully get it right with a new coach, whoever that may be. Let's go over, of course, to Wales to complete the packet, over to Rodney Parade as Newport County take on Accrington Stanley. That's right, coming at you over at the Rodney Parade. Played each other 12 times since 2013. These two sides, 5 wins for the Welshies, 3 for Accrington. There's been 4 draws between the two sides. Now, Newport County, not a great start for them, but they are sitting 8th in the table at the moment. Accrington Stanley yet to get a win so far, but they did pick up a draw last time around at Harrogate Town. Meanwhile, last time around, these two sides did play over in Wales. It was a 3-1 win for Stanley, who did pick up the double over them this past season, both a win at Stanley and a win over at Newport County itself. But the bookies do fancy the hosts here, Newport County, over a struggling Accrington Stanley side. We've got odds of 27 to 20 for the Welshies, 13 to 8 for Stanley, 12 to 5 is the draw. I really want Stanley to do well, but I'm just seeing a bit of a... I'm worried. I'm worried for them for this season already. I am sitting on a fence. I do have a lot of 1-1 draws knocking around. I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw for me on this one. So that completes my pack there, guys. Make sure you get your own picks in as well, as we look forward to seeing what you've got in your locker using the link for the Super Brew. It's completely free, 100% free. Get involved. And of course, we'll see you next time around as we come back for match number 4. Who will be top of the table? Who, of course, will be struggling a little bit? Who, of course, will have a new manager? MK Don's prime candidate right there. That's it. Subscribe, smash the like, catch you later. But until then, we are done.